Some quick ground rules for our statewide meeting today. We just put these on the screen just to make sure that, particularly in our group discussion, we have a nice, fruitful discussion. We are avoiding attacking, we're not attacking people, we're attacking ideas if we have disagreements. We're using I statements. We don't want to necessarily speak for others. We want to keep things pretty concise so that we have respect everyone's time here today and don't go over. We ask that you please keep your webcam on and your microphone muted. Everyone's doing great so far with that. That's good. And I would ask that you take out a pen and paper at this point, grab something to write with, maybe open your notes app, because we're going to be going in detail today. There's going to be a lot of information. It's going to be a lot of links. It's going to be a lot of QR codes. So get ready. We're going to get a lot done in the next 45 minutes. There's going to be a lot of action items that you're going to be able to take on this call. The first of which is the newly introduced Ranked Choice Voting Act. So Ben is going to post the link in chat to contact your representatives in the U.S. Congress to ask them to support the newly introduced Ranked Choice Voting Act. This is hot off the presses. It was just introduced. This bill would require the use of ranked choice voting for all elections for U.S. representatives and U.S. senators in Congress, which would obviously be a generational step forward for democracy and choice in our elections. So we're just going to pause for about 3 minutes here so that everyone on the call can click the link and quickly send this pre-written letter to your representatives.
One quick thing, anybody editing your message, make sure you hit save. I think if you hit send message without hitting save, you'll send the default one, I think.
Thank you. Great point. All right. So I think for the sake of time, if you want to finish writing that up while you listen to me blabber on here, feel free to do that, but we're going to go ahead and move on. So thank you for taking the time to do that. There's going to be a lot, as I said, a lot of opportunities to take action during this call to advance the movement. So we're going to get a lot done. And to that end, we're also going to take just another couple minutes here. This is a lot of QR codes. This is all of our links right here for social media. Actually, it's missing threads, but we're just going to take a couple of minutes here if you want to follow a couple of these pages. We post regularly on social media to keep you up to date on the movement, to share important news, as well as new opportunities for quick actions. We're working on some new quick action items like the one you just did. So that will be the first place you'll see it, next to our email list. So social media is a really important sort of first point of communication for us. So we hope that you'll take a couple minutes here right now and follow us on a couple of these social media pages.
Yeah, please do not do all of them. Don't exhaust yourselves. Whatever you use the most often. I personally use Instagram the most often. I'm following us on Instagram and also on YouTube. That's predominantly the platforms that I use. So yeah, like Dan said, just one or two. And yeah, I don't think, Dan, we couldn't really find a MySpace for our organization, could we?
It's a big loss.
Maybe we can slip that into the act.
Truth Social, maybe. Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think we don't have Truth Social or Rumble. I think that's another one. Oh yeah, that's a great point, Rebecca. If you could avoid as much social media as you can, that's probably good in this day and age. So yeah, definitely limit yourself.
Unless you're me, which I have to keep an eye on all of these, which is why it's so important to me that you are followed, because I will appear a lot and I want you to see what I'm doing.
Yeah, we're probably good to continue forward though, Dan.
Great, sounds good. So we'll bring everybody back. Thanks for doing that. That'll keep you updated on news as it arises. We get some news articles here in Illinois, so about ranked choice voting, and we'll share all of those. Moving on, many of you joining us on the call today, this is your first time engaging with us, so thank you so much for being here. I'd like to share this quick 2-minute animated video. This is just going to go over some of the basics. It'll introduce you to why we focus on ranked choice voting so much and why we think this is such a critical reform that we would create an entire organization dedicated to ranked choice voting. So we'll take a couple minutes and watch this video.
This talk is really about choice. We want democracy around the world. We want everyone to have a choice in how they're governed. Unfortunately, in some countries, there is no voting. You are told who's in charge, whether you like them or not, and you're stuck with it. You essentially have one choice. Luckily, we live in the United States. We have a flourishing democracy, and we get two choices. Two choices. We act like this is normal. And why is this? It is because we use plurality voting. So the most votes wins, which sounds normal, but you could win with less than 50% of the vote. And this happens actually all the time. And what this causes is we get two major parties and slowly they move farther and farther apart. So if I want choices, there must be a better way to vote. And luckily there is. And it's been used around the US and it's taking off, and it's called ranked choice voting. So ranked choice voting is just a simple upgrade to the way we vote. So today, when you go to vote, you go to the ballot box and you pick a single candidate. So your ballot might look like this. You select the candidate you like. And with ranked choice voting, you rank your candidate. First choice, second choice, third choice, down the list, any order you like. It's really that simple. We already know how to rank everything. That's how it works. And it has lots of advantages. It guarantees that whoever wins gets supported by a majority of the voters. It eliminates the spoiler effect. So you could vote for who you want first. And if they don't win, okay, your vote might get transferred to your second choice. No more feeling like you're throwing away your vote. No more feeling like you're spoiling the election. And it gives us a lot more choices. So a lot more people could run, especially since there's not this spoiler effect. And there's lots of other benefits. Better representation, campaigns become a lot more civil, and can even save money. So what is the choice? We could just keep going like we're going and hope for the best, or we could upgrade the way we vote. We could change the system and we could have more choice, a less polarized system that we could all work with.
So as the video discussed, to recap, our electoral system is how we choose the people that make the decisions about every other issue that we face. So whatever it is that you care the most about, whether that's affordability or healthcare or housing or the economy or protecting human rights and freedoms, immigration, all of that will be decided by our elected officials in this country. So it's critically important that our elections that we use to choose these officials actually give us a real choice, that they give us more than two choices, and that they're meaningful. As the video talked about, our current electoral system is only really giving you two choices. It naturally tends towards this two-party system because candidates are viewed as spoilers. And if you have more than two candidates, with most votes wins, those two candidates are going to say that all the other candidates are spoiling the election, or they're taking votes from these two major camps. If we want to vote for a third party or an independent candidate, we'll get told that we're spoiling the election and that our vote is pointless. And when races have more than two candidates, we also often see candidates winning with less than 50% of the vote. And I like to point out that in our Chicago school board elections, half of the seats were won by a candidate that did not win 50% of the vote. And that was not talked about in the media, for example. So this is an example of where RCV would be very helpful. And that's, of course, not the democratic ideal. So all of this contributes to toxic politics where candidates are incentivized to ruthlessly attack each other, all while voters don't feel that they have a real choice at the ballot box. So it doesn't have to be this way. Ranked choice voting is the leading solution right now to mitigate all of these problems. It's already used in over 50 jurisdictions in the United States, including New York City, San Francisco, Minneapolis, Washington, D.C., and 2 whole states. It solves a lot of problems. Particularly, it solves vote splitting or spoiling the election. It gives us way more than just two choices, and it incentivizes candidates to work together and strategize across their campaigns rather than only tearing each other down. And that leads to more positive politics in general, which is something that I think we can all agree that we would benefit from right now. And there's a lot more to unpack here. The rabbit hole goes super deep with the benefits of RCV. I would recommend that you check out fairvote.org, our national organization. There's lots of research about RCV from the last 25 years of the United States using it. And it's really interesting stuff. The rabbit hole goes deep. So now we'll get into kind of the meat of things. FairVote Illinois has led 3 major wins on ranked choice voting in the last 3 years. First, we worked with Evanston City Council to put a legally binding RCV referendum on the ballot in 2022. That passed with 82% of voters voting yes. Next, we collected, and there's many people on this call here today that helped out with that campaign, and we're very grateful. And next, we collected thousands of signatures in Oak Park. We put another binding referendum on the ballot to the voters there. That passed with 79% voting yes. So resounding victory. And then most recently, this past April, our ranked choice voting referendum passed in Skokie with 58%, about 58% saying yes. Again, resounding success. Everywhere it's been on the ballot in Illinois, it has passed, and voters want this. So this is where I take a moment to pause, because this is where the story gets juicy. They say that you work hard, hitting your head against a wall, and then eventually you win. And then you win again. And then you win again. And then they start to fight you. Litigation. Now I'm going to tell you the story of combat with the establishment. As I said, in 2022, Evanston passes a legally binding ranked choice voting referendum. That means if it passes, it has the force of law. In the months following that great victory, the first time that ranked choice voting had ever been voted on by binding referendum in Illinois, a number of RCV groups, including FairVote Illinois, reached out to the Cook County Clerk, who was responsible for administering elections in Evanston, to offer research, best practices, and assistance with implementing the new voting system. She remained unresponsive for a very long time. In July of 2024, our excellent partner and a fantastic defender of democracy, Reform for Illinois, filed a lawsuit to compel the Cook County Clerk to implement the will of the people and enact ranked choice voting in Evanston. Tragically for democracy, in November of that year, the courts also sided with the clerk on what we believe is very legally unsound reasoning. To address this, we worked with our colleagues in the Illinois General Assembly to introduce legislation that would explicitly rebut the clerk's concerns. That legislation is SB 2004. It is still active. In April of this year, Reform for Illinois filed an appeal. FairVote Illinois filed an amicus briefing in support of that appeal. And RCV was supposed to be implemented in Evanston for its April 2025 elections. It was not. Then we got a lukewarm, not really win, but a win in the appeals courts. They sent it back to the original trial court for further consideration and pointed out some flaws in how the judge handled that case. Moving forward. Fast forward to today, and the city of Evanston is preparing to join this suit in a refiled suit. They have been fantastic partners in all of this. The city of Evanston has been highly supportive of RCV and democracy reform. They're committed to making this happen, and that's critical. This doesn't really happen unless they're truly involved and committed. We expect the Cook County Clerk to continue fighting us elsewhere on implementation. If you are angry about this, you should be. We would encourage you, you can either do this now while we're on the call or after the call. We encourage you to scan this QR code. Ben will drop the link in the chat. This will take you to contact your state senator to ask them to support SB 2004 to directly address the clerk's legal arguments that were made in the case, which we disagree with, but nonetheless, we want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can and working this problem from every angle that we can to push this forward. I would also, again, re-emphasize, follow us on social media, share our posts, tell your friends, raise your voice about democracy being under attack right here in Cook County. We're also working on developing further quick action items like the one you did at the beginning of this call. There's a lot of different angles we can work this problem from. We can work with our sympathetic commissioners on the Cook County Board of Commissioners, and we're working on expanding our strategy around this into the new year. So follow us on social media. That'll give you all the action items as they come up where you can quick contact your representatives and ask them to support RCV implementation. Heading into 2026, we have a lot of exciting things. We are primarily looking for volunteers in Naperville and Chicago. But if you're interested in forming a chapter to spread the word about RCV elsewhere in Illinois, we have a process for this. Please let Ben know, and he can guide you through that process, or you can attend one of our bi-weekly volunteer orientation sessions. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, the processes for getting involved. Ben will touch on that. But we are also looking for volunteers across the state. This is a whole state issue. In Naperville, we've already collected thousands of signatures to put a binding referendum on the ballot. We're going to continue doing that, and we absolutely will want more leaders who can help out with that effort. That referendum is, we're planning to, tentatively, we're working to get that on the November 2026 midterm election ballot. And in Chicago, we are excited to say that legislation has been introduced and co-sponsored by 8 alders in City Council. However, this legislation that has been introduced is not exactly what we were looking for. It is a non-binding referendum instead of a legally binding referendum. So it's an advisory referendum in its current state. So we're working hard to get that amended so that it's a binding resolution. And we are planning to get that on the ballot in February 2027 for the mayoral race. So that obviously will be a good example of why we need RCV, because we will likely have a lot of candidates running in that mayoral race. So people will be able to vote on RCV while they're being forced to select just one candidate in the mayoral race. In particular, if you know any organizations who would like to formally endorse our ranked choice voting for Chicago campaign, that would be really helpful. They can fill out the form at this link that Ben will share in the chat here. And if you do have an organization that would like to endorse, that's really helpful because it helps us to essentially be more legitimized when we go and talk to alders. They've heard of these groups, many of these groups. And so if they'll say, oh, this group thought about it and supports it, then I'm more open to supporting it as well. Let Ben know also if you need a speaker to come out and chat about ranked choice voting as well to your organization. We're happy to do that. We have a speakers team that's trained to chat about it and talk about how it works and what the benefits would be for the organization and the org's mission. We're happy to do that. We are also working on a form where you can contact your alderman, but otherwise, if you're interested in having a meeting with your alderman, we also have an interest form that we will drop in the chat as well.
Oh, and I also want to just call attention to, on this slide, standing to the left of current Mayor Brandon Johnson, that's one of our volunteers, Abigail Nichols. Hopefully some of you folks have met her. She's one of the most tenacious advocates for RCV, having worked on it in Washington, D.C., and now she's working on it here in Chicago. And I wanted to call her out because she's doing a lot of work to get it done. And thought this was really cool that she managed to like meet the mayor. So thank you. Sorry to interrupt, Dan.
No worries. Yeah, this is RCV is a people problem. The more people we talk to about this, whenever you get the ear of someone who knows someone and you give it a mention and talk about the benefits, usually they take note. So yes, Abigail Nichols is fantastic. She's our Central Chicago chapter lead. And now that we've discussed some of our history and our wins and the background information, I want to take a moment to give a very special thank you to Rebecca Williams. Rebecca has been with FairVote Illinois since our 2022 Evanston campaign, and she has been such an amazing advocate and played such an important role in passing the referenda that we've gotten so far in the last few years. So I just want to see if Rebecca is on the call today. I believe she is.
She is indeed.
I'll just pass it to her to say a few words if you'd like. Yeah.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, no, I'm glad I came to this call because I don't think we didn't have a statewide call since I announced that I was resigning and everything, and really great to see a lot of your faces on here. And yeah, I'm still involved in a volunteer capacity. I plan to join the board starting next year, pending that is approved. But it was really wonderful working for FairVote Illinois ever since 2022. It's just the best group of volunteers, and seeing people who are willing to put so much of their time into this issue that we all know is very important, and yet it's certainly not one of the flashier issues. And so it's just been really amazing. But yeah, and now I'm looking to do slightly different things now, but yeah, still really supportive and super excited to see what Ben and all of you continue to do.
Yes, thank you so much, Rebecca, and thank you for being willing to stick around in some capacity, because if we were to lose you completely, I don't know what I would do. I think our entire movement would be set back. And so very grateful all you've done, very grateful that you still want to be a part of this. So thank you.
I don't think it would be set back, but I hope to still be helpful.
Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, Rebecca really taught me a lot by example about advocacy and running an effective campaign. So I'm just really thankful to have worked with her and to continue doing some work with her as a board member. So thank you, Rebecca. And with that, I am very excited to introduce our brand new statewide organizer, Ben. Ben started with FairVote Illinois last month, and he's already doing a lot of work to bring renewed energy and optimize our organizing strategy, particularly around bringing people together and refining kind of a cohesive social sense to the organization. So we're very excited for that vision. I will now pass it over to Ben to introduce himself and to talk a little bit more about how you can get started with FairVote Illinois.
Thank you very much, Dan. That is, of course, Dan Ashurst, one of our most active, most effective volunteers in FairVote Illinois, one of the leads in our social media team. He's been doing fantastic. Our social media team, our social media presence is one of the strongest in the ranked choice vote space, which is fantastic. They've done some good things, so I'm super excited about that. And I'm super excited to be on board with FairVote Illinois, because y'all are 3 for 3 on victories in Illinois in municipal RCV, which is absolutely fantastic, super exciting. And I recognize we have hurdles in our way right now. The work is not over, obviously, with the victories that we've secured, as Dan has already laid out. There's definitely more work to be done. Yeah, I think that's good for this slide. Can you advance? Thanks. Okay, so just to get to a little bit back me, who I am, where I came from, why I'm here. So I've lived in Chicago for a cumulative total of 9 years. 5 years most recently, 4 years before while I was in pharmacy school at UIC. And so that's what my career was prior to this. I was a pharmacist for 7 years. That was not a good fit for me. I did a lot of volunteering on the side with a couple different local organizations, Citizens Climate Lobby Chicago and Strong Towns Chicago. And that's where I got my sea legs as far as volunteering goes and issue advocacy goes. And that's when I really started to enjoy and love and become passionate about volunteering, working with volunteers, getting people activated, motivated, wanting to be involved and effective, and feel like they have the ability to make their community, their state, their world a better place. It's really easy to get bogged down and feel despair when you spend so much time on the news and social media, and you're just being bombarded with like negative stuff, and it seems things can't change, the system is too calcified. But since getting involved in volunteering, it's become so clear like how much work people are doing to change things, that they are being effective, and being around folks like that is just so inspiring. And so that's something that I really want to bring to this organization and the volunteering space in general. That's where I think my passion is, getting volunteers involved, empowering people to volunteer, to advocate for issues that they care about. And here, particularly for ranked choice voting and other democracy reform initiatives. So that's what brings me here. I want to work with our volunteer base, really bring us up, really build up our capacity so that we can overcome the hurdles in front of us and ultimately last and change the culture of the state and opinions around ranked choice voting. And just as a couple of sides, just a little more other things about me. So I like to dance. I'm learning to, if shuffling or cutting shapes, that's something I've been working on, just like on YouTube. Dancing is like the one area I have where I can like express myself creatively. I otherwise don't have too many creative pursuits. I'm also big into sustainability. So I have a worm farm in the room that's like beyond that wall here in my apartment, and they eat my food scraps, and I grow plants over there using their castings and worms. Like they're composting worms. And so it's cool. They're a nifty little pet to have, I guess you could say. No, I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. That's for dang sure, let me tell you. You could advance, Dan. Okay, so speaking of volunteering, so a lot of y'all are folks who have already done things with FairVote Illinois. That's great. We want to keep you involved. For those of you who have not done anything yet, I want you to take this opportunity to figure out, what do you think is the best way you would want to connect with us? So if you want a one-on-one with myself, you can schedule time on my calendar. My hours are pretty wide open, whether you want to meet during the day or if you work and want to meet in the evenings. I'm willing to work with you on that. The purpose for this meeting would be just figure out, what are you looking for? What are you looking to get out of FairVote Illinois, volunteering for FairVote to get ranked choice voting implemented? And we can figure out what would be a good fit for you, what you would do that would make you feel empowered or fulfilled. So if you want to do that, you could also sign up through the volunteer interest form on our website and just indicate what you want to do. There's some options, whether you want to do voter outreach. Do you want to do like presentations? Do you want to work with elected officials? Do you want to maybe start a chapter in your area where there is none? Get a conversation started, a local conversation about ranked choice voting, and maybe you can advance that in your area. So if you go to that website and complete the volunteer form, that'll help us understand what you want to do. Or if you just want to work on support roles like arts and tech, if you want to do something like help out with social media production, if you want to help write copy like emails or phone bank or things like that, let us know what you're interested in, and so we can get you plugged in with things that you want to do. Alternatively, if you just want to be onboarded and talk in more of a group setting, speak with some of our onboarders, you can also schedule one of those. So our onboarders are Patrick and Ryan, and they're fantastic. I'm really happy with the onboarding process that they've built, and you go through that orientation session and we can still figure out like where we can best plug you in. Next slide. Something else which is really important, which I want to do, and I want to get this organization in the habit of doing, is having regular social events. We have a few local chapters right now in Northwest Chicago, North Chicago, Central Chicago, Oak Park, and DuPage County. We would like more chapters, obviously, and we're going to work on getting chapters where we have supporters and where we can grow support. And I want regular social events to become a part of the culture of this organization, because ultimately, when it comes to ranked choice voting, I'm sure some of you who are more savvy to the news or the politics of it have noticed that it's becoming, unfortunately, perceived as a partisan issue in some ways. It has opposition from entrenched interests, no matter what party you're on. It's, if the current system helped elect you, you don't really want to change this system that helped elect you. So there's entrenchment from people in power. So this is something that it's not just a matter of passing a municipal RCV bill, as we've seen, because there's still going to be opposition. There's repeal efforts. There's things like that. So what we really need to build is something that is durable and sustainable, a movement that's durable and sustainable, that's not just focused on petitioning, that's an important part of it, but we also need to work at building up the culture around it, helping to keep the initiatives that are in place, helping to continue to educate people on the benefits of it and how it helps their electoral systems. And the way we do that is through just building a community, making our organization a community of people who socialize, but they also get stuff done. They advocate for a cause and they go out and have a slice of pizza or something like that. You become more connected with each other. You're more willing to go do stuff, volunteer with each other, petition with each other. And through this, we build a community that people want to be a part of. And when they want to be part of our community, they want to be part of ranked choice voting. And that's how we can start to change the culture in our states, that more people see, okay, this is the benefits of it. And these people are saying, oh, it's bad for X, Y, and Z reason. But I know these people, I like these people, and I'm exposed to ranked choice voting, and I see maybe I'm being misinformed, maybe I'm being misled. And so we start to build up this culture and we can improve perception of ranked choice voting. So we're still working on getting social events up and running. Keep an eye out for it. We'll post them on our webpage. We're going to be expanding to other platforms like Eventbrite as well, so we can get more folks out and just get people in. But I'm really looking forward to seeing how this goes, because in my experience, like, people aren't just here to for the issues to get stuff done. They're also here to meet people, to socialize, to just be part of something, particularly with the decline of third spaces and groups in general, bowling leagues and other types of clubs that people just don't join as much anymore. So that's something I think that we can be a community, we can be a group that people can be part of for multiple reasons. Next slide. Okay, also got to do a plug for our holiday fundraiser. We would love support. Whatever you're willing to give, even if it's just like $5 a month, would be super helpful, because all of this stuff helps pay for our platforms and things like that. We run on a shoestring budget, so any little bit you'd be willing to help would be super helpful. I don't want to belabor this point, because I realize times are tough in terms of money, but if you are able to give and willing, you want to support the cause, would really appreciate it.